All right, so ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling how to boost those English skills.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. We're taking a deep dive into, well, 12 easy tips to boost your English skills. Straight from teacher Sam and Emily. No, 12 tips.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot.
Right. But don't worry, we're going to break it down.
Yeah, we'll find the best stuff.
Exactly. We're going to unearth those golden nuggets that'll really make a difference for you.
Absolutely.
So, first things first, speaking practice. Gotta love it, gotta hit it.
Yeah, I gotta do it.
Teacher Sam and Emily, they really emphasize this consistent speaking practice thing.
For sure.
But honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm just talking, to myself, not really getting anywhere.
Right. It can feel like that.
What's the secret sauce? What makes speaking practice actually work?
The million-dollar question. I think the key is intention.
Okay.
It's just about talking. It's about practicing with a purpose.
Got it. So how do we do that?
Well, have you ever tried shadowing?
Shadowing. Is that like following someone around?
Well, sort of. But in this case, you're following a speaker's voice.
Okay.
You find some audio, something with a clear speaker, like a TED Talk or maybe a podcast you like.
Right.
And you basically mimic them.
Mimic them.
You try to match their pronunciation, intonation, even their pace.
Ooh, like an English-speaking parrot.
Exactly. Yeah, it might feel a bit silly at first.
Uh-huh. I can imagine.
But it really works. It's like a workout for your tongue and your brain.
Interesting. Like, how does that help?
Well, it trains your mouth to make those English sounds.
I see.
And it helps you get used to the natural rhythm and intonation of English.
That's really cool. I'm totally trying that.
It's a good one.
And speaking of practice, teacher Sam and Emily, they also talk about defining your objectives. I know. Goal setting, super important.
Yeah, it's crucial.
But let's be real. Sometimes my goals are more like, daydreams than actual plans.
I think we've all been there.
Right. Any advice on setting goals that actually, stick?
It's all about making them smart.
Smart goals.
Yeah. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Oh.
So
yeah.
Instead of saying, I want to improve my English, which is pretty vague.
Right. Very vague.
Try something like, I want to be able to have a 5-minute conversation about my hobbies in English with a native speaker within 3 months.
Wow. Okay, that's very specific.
Exactly. You have a clear target and a deadline.
I can work with that.
Yeah.
And they also stress maintaining consistency and giving quality interaction.
Yeah, both super important.
It's not just about, quantity.
Nope.
It's got to be quality, too, right?
Absolutely. It's like building a house, If you only lay a few bricks every now and then, it's going to take forever.
And it might fall apart.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
foundation will be shaky. But if you lay bricks consistently and make sure each brick is placed properly, you'll have a solid structure and a lot faster, too.
Okay, that's a really good analogy. I like that. Consistent quality practice.
That's the key.
But you know what else I think is really, really important?
What's that?
Listening. Teacher Sam and Emily talk about this, too. Practice active listening.
It's so important.
Because a lot of people think, oh, listening, that's passive, right? Just sit there and let the words go in one ear and out the other.
But it shouldn't be.
But it's not, is it?
No, not at all. Active listening, it's a mental workout.
How so?
You're really engaging with what you're hearing.
Okay.
You ask questions if something's unclear.
Yeah.
You summarize what you understood, to check if you got it right.
Right.
And you can even try to predict what the speaker might say next.
Oh, that's a good one. It's like you're really actively participating.
Exactly. You're not just letting the words wash over you, you're processing them.
You're really in it.
Yes.
I love that. And the next tip is investigate a range of materials.
Now we're talking.
This is where things get fun.
Absolutely. It's like exploring a whole world of different English flavors.
Ooh. I like that.
Don't just stick to textbooks.
Or like the news.
Yeah, branch out. Dive into podcasts, especially ones with clear speakers or maybe transcripts.
Transcripts are helpful.
Definitely. Find some YouTube channels about topics you actually find interesting.
Good idea.
Even watching movies or TV shows with English subtitles can be really helpful.
Oh, yeah. Subtitles are great. It's like immersing yourself, right?
Exactly. You're surrounded by English.
So much English. And, speaking of pushing boundaries, teacher Sam and Emily, they encourage us to, challenge ourselves.
Get out of that comfort zone.
Right. How can we really, level up our learning, do you think?
Well, one great way is through exercises in multimodal learning.
Multimodal learning. That sounds complicated.
It's not really. It just means using different skills together.
Okay.
So, for example, you listen to a podcast, right?
Hmm.
Then you try to write down a summary of the main points.
Ah, I see.
Or maybe you watch a scene from a movie,
Okay.
and then you try role-playing a similar conversation with a language partner.
Oh, that's cool. So you're connecting different skills, listening, speaking, writing.
Exactly. They all reinforce each other.
It's like cross-training, but for English.
Haha, exactly.
I love it. But how do we know what areas we really need to work on?
Well, that's where get comments comes in.
Ah, feedback.
Feedback is crucial. It's like having a coach.
Mm-hmm.
They can see your blind spots, you know?
Right, the things you don't even notice.
And they can give you specific advice on how to improve.
That makes sense. So where do you find this feedback?
Lots of places. Find a language partner, a tutor, or there are tons of online communities where you can get feedback on your speaking or writing.
Cool, cool. All right, let's talk tech.
Ooh, yes.
Teacher Sam and Emily are all about use technology.
It's such a powerful tool.
What are some of your favorite tech tools for language learners?
Well, there are the language learning apps, of course.
Like Duolingo?
Yeah, Duolingo, Babbel, those are great for vocab and grammar.
Right, right.
There are also online communities like HelloTalk, where you can connect with native speakers.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, you can do language exchange. And if you want something more structured, there are tons of online tutoring platforms.
So many options. Technology's really opened up a lot of possibilities for language learners.
Absolutely.
And finally, let's talk about mindset.
Always important.
Teacher Sam and Emily, they really emphasize develop a growth mindset and stay persistent and patient.
So important.
Because learning a language, it can be tough sometimes, right? It's like a roller coaster.
Totally agree. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Definitely a marathon.
There will be days when you feel like you're making amazing progress.
Right, you're on top of the world.
And other days where you feel like you're just stuck.
Yeah, like you're going nowhere.
But it's important to remember every mistake, it's a learning opportunity.
Okay.
And every challenge you overcome, it gets you closer to fluency.
That's a good way to look at it. Embrace the journey.
Exactly. Celebrate every milestone along the way.
Absolutely. So if we had to boil it all down, 3 key takeaways, I'd say consistent, intentional speaking practice,
Yes.
active listening, and diverse input, and a growth mindset.
Foundation.
The foundation. What stands out most to you?
All of that for sure. But it also adds seeking feedback and really using technology to your advantage.
Yeah, those are great additions. All right, so here's a final thought-provoking question for you, our listeners.
I like it.
What's one concrete action you can take this week to put one of these tips into practice?
Good question.
Choose one, commit to it, and watch your English skills grow.
Awesome.
Until next time, happy learning.
Happy learning.